Hey guys, Sebastian here from Walker's Vintage. Welcome to our gallery. In today's video, we'll be talking about effects loops. So an amplifier has two separate sections. You have your preamp and then your power amp. The preamp is in charge of taking your instrument level signal into a line level signal that then your power amp can read and amplify. The effects loop is a way of basically adding more elements in between those two sections. So you might be thinking, how is that helpful? What happens is that once you start to saturate the preamp, therefore getting distortion, a lot of these effects no longer sound that good if you run them in front of the amp. That's why in the 70s and 80s, a lot of the players opted for this option to basically run mostly wet effects in the effects loop, therefore having a signal that was a lot closer to what they were getting in the studio as they added effects in post once the amp had already been recorded. Not only can you add wet effects into the effects loop, but now you can isolate the preamp that is built into the amplifier and treat it almost like a pedal. Basically, our guitar goes into the MXR buffer that is doing a split of our signal, and one of those is going through the input of the amplifier and the other one is going into the pedal that is put on the effects loop. Then you have an A/B pedal that is basically toggling back and forth between which one is going into the power section. And this is huge because now you have a Fender preamp that is what's already built in here with whatever other sound you want to add completely independent from that. Why wouldn't you just run the pedal in front of the amp? And the reason is because no matter how many pedals you put in front of the amp, the last thing that the power amp is going to see is always going to be that Fender preamp that is going to be coloring your sound. Why wouldn't we use the secondary channel of the hot rod if it already has distortion? The reason is all basically about tone. I love the hot rod. It has amazing clean sounds, but I'm not a huge fan of the distorted tones. So the best way that I've come around fixing that is by just using a completely different preamp, which is what we're doing here. So you could have, for example, a pedal board with all of these effects and a MIDI controller and just create patches where they're all going in different parts of a song into the same power amp to give you different flavors. It's you can see it on the diagram. It's a little bit complex, but trust me, it's highly effective and I definitely recommend it. And these amps are highly popular. I see them a lot around, so it's a great platform to experiment and get all sort of different sounds. So the guitar that we'll be using for the demo is this Gibson ES335. This is a 64 reissue and I love it. It sounds great, plays great, and it looks amazing. We're also using a Supa-Lead by Way Huge. This is gonna be our other preamp. And then we have the Fender ABY pedal and the MXR buffer doing some of the splitting. So with that said, let's go ahead and play. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to find out more about this rig, all the information is down below in the description. Check out our website, waltgracevintage.com. In there we have a lot of cool stuff from guitars to cars, coffee, watches, and a lot more. If you guys want to support the channel, give the video a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and follow us on Instagram at @WaltGraceVintage for more content like this. My name's Sebastian. Till next time.